I, however, personally never borrow money for anything in any circumstance. There's nothing I want that bad, ever. I want to be debt-free more than there's anything on the planet I want. And so I will never trade that because it's given me that much freedom. It's given me that much peace. And I'm convinced it's one of the reasons I've become wealthy is I don't have any stinking payments.
This is Dave Ramsey.
I was riding with the Uber driver, and the Uber driver said his daughter is a dancer and a barista, and she couldn't get a house. And I went, that's been true in every generation. Those are not career fields that you're going to make enough to be able to afford a house. That's not a new thing. That doesn't mean the system is
It absolutely means the system's broken. This house today is on the market for $339,000. Definitely a great starter home. Backyard, beautiful. Now today in 2024, this home is going to cost you about $2,700, which a person would need to make about $80,000, $90,000 to qualify. So can a dancer and barista make $80,000 or $90,000? Depends on, I guess, what kind of dancer. But this house, just 8 years ago, sold for $169,000. And the payment out the door was only $1,000.
He's out of touch.
If you're not familiar with Dave Ramsey, he's an out-of-touch financial guru.
This wealth inequality thing, it's not fair. The fair is where they have cotton candy in the tilt-a-whirl. Results are going to be unequal because the talents and the efforts are unequal.
He's currently going viral because he was shocked and appalled that a family is paying $80,000 for childcare.
You guys have lost your minds.
Ramsey Solutions, which is his company, it's a cult. Her Majesty has many different rules. Not allowed to have premarital. Only straight people are allowed. No liberal snowflakes allowed. There are no boundaries. In order to get hired at Ramsey Solutions, you have to have a meal with your potential boss and your spouse. Your financial situation will be a topic of conversation with your boss at this dinner. Dave has also supported many men in the church who have been accused of having affairs, harassment, abuse.
First thing I did was contact him and say, dude, I got your back.
He's openly supported men like Bill Hybel, Mark Driscoll.
How dare you! Didn't really do anything wrong except just melt a whole bunch of little liberal snowflakes.
Because when you work at Ramsey Solutions, you do not have a lot of rights and there are very little boundaries. His employees have to sue him all the time. He will fire you for gossiping.
I hate gossip. I will fire your butt for this.
He will fire you for whatever he wants to fire you for, and it does not have to be legal.
You will leave this building.
Dave has fired an employee who got pregnant without getting married, which means she had premarital, and that goes against their policy. Back in 2021, a woman who is a lesbian, she faced so much discrimination that she had to resign from her job. He also fired an employee who wanted to take proper COVID precautions.
And he's kind of culty.
Child care costs are about $80,000.
This is why I find Dave Ramsey completely out of touch, if not dangerous, because he gives financial advice to people, but doesn't have a sense of the finances that many people spend on things in their life. In this video, he talks about childcare costs, and he shames someone for spending $2,000 a month per child on their daycare. And his co-host suggests that during the summer, instead of paying for summer camp, they find a free summer camp. I think a lot of people would like to know where you can find that. But it's these type of things and this mentality that leaders often have of, well, things shouldn't cost that much, find something cheaper. Or you should be able to find childcare or affordable childcare or options. You absolutely should, but people can't. Or other things, people go on work travel. Well, they're having to pay people to come and watch their pets and pay expensive amounts. So when leaders, like a Dave Ramsey, have no sense of people's actual finances, it becomes incredibly dangerous to give them advice on what they should do.
But let me be clear. I have not seen one video that would lead a person to believe that this man is a thought leader, that he is incredibly intelligent, that he is wise beyond his remaining years. That was until, and it is singular, this one video.
The fastest growing addiction that is destroying young men in their 20s is online sports gambling. FanDuel is a portal to hell. DraftKings ain't kinging nothing except their own pocketbook. And they're screwing an entire generation of young men because you don't win. That's why they can afford to buy ads. They're back-to-back ads every time you turn on a sporting event. They're spending billions of dollars. You know where they're getting that? It's out of your kid's freaking pocket because they're screwing an entire generation. This is evil stuff right here.
I cannot believe I'm saying this, but roll the meme. It is quite heartbreaking because this man is a nuisance. He is a jackwad. His content stinks, yet he hit the nail on the head. These companies are, and this is a word that's going to come up a lot, predatory.
Gambling is used extensively all over the world to launder money. If I was to estimate, based on the amount of accounts I've seen of that nature, it would have to be millions and millions of dollars that are laundered every year. It's just a scam. The fact that nobody can win, we only want losing customers. That's it. It was just they know what advertising works, what algorithm works, they know how to maximize their profit, which is to get people to lose more and more. It is just rotten to the core. I was a customer account supervisor at one of the biggest gambling companies in the world. Behind the scenes, there's all of this maths going on that analyzes your betting and ensures the company wins. It will always win. Customers would be categorized based on their profitability. So if a customer lost millions of dollars, they would be labeled a VIP.
You have academics coming out and saying stuff like this. Dr. Jared A. Pinson, Associate Professor of Economics, and Colonel Greg Thompson, Professor of Criminal Justice and a retired U.S. Air Force Judge Advocate General Officer, two members of Cedarville University, warn of what is happening. Everyone has access to a casino in their pocket, Thompson would tell his students. The two exclaimed that companies like FanDuel and DraftKings conduct predatory practices to draw users in and keep them betting. Promotions offering free money that we always see on ads from $5 to $250 and easy win bets create a false confidence and they encourage continued losses. Thompson would say these companies make money only when the gambler loses. They aren't concerned for the well-being of the clients. The dark reality is that gambling is very addictive and can bankrupt people, strain marriages, and destroy futures. With all that being said, many partake and the repercussions are quite damaging. Leah Nauer, Associate Dean for Research, Distinguished Professor and Director, Center for Gambling Studies and Co-Director of the Addiction Counselor Training Certificate Program, told WBUR, gambling is where cigarettes were in the 40s when we had the Marlboro Man and every actress with a cigarette on one of those extenders. Right now it's glamorized. People are not understanding that this is an addiction like any other. As we've also seen from the data, those seeking counseling, and good on them, are getting younger and younger. The number of Massachusetts residents in their 20s and 30s who contacted the state's gambling hotline and were referred to treatment more than doubled after legal sports betting went live 3 years ago, according to Department of Public Health data obtained through a public records request. One famed author, Jeff Pearlman, has despised what he has seen.
I live in Southern California, and a couple of years ago, I went to my local supermarket one day. And there was a guy out there with a petition. And it was a petition with a big sign, sign the petition to help homeless veterans. And the guy was like, can you sign the petition? People were coming up, just, homeless veterans, signing the petition. I was watching this. And the guy asked me, can you sign the petition? I said, can I take a picture of it first? He was very actually reluctant about it, but okay, what are you going to say? I took a picture. I went home. This petition was sponsored by DraftKings. And what it was doing was it was a fight to legalize online gambling in the state of California. And way, like paragraph 27, 0.00008% of all proceeds will go to help homeless veterans in California. That sums up the online gambling industry in a nutshell. And if you saw today's news about the athletes and the coaches being arrested in an investigation by the federal government on sports betting and rigged poker games, you should not be surprised, because we have been coming to this point and coming to this point and coming to this point. I called it blood money, and I stand by that. This is on you. This is on you. From the Pivot podcast to a million different sports podcasts, all paid off by gambling. This is on you. And I just want to say, for the record, in my own defense, I have a podcast on YouTube called Pressbox Chronicles. 3.0 Labs came to me and said, do you have any conditions in terms of advertising? And I said, I will not take a penny from online gambling. I'm not doing it. And I know they were kind of reluctant, upset at first. What gambling has become is big tobacco.
Furthermore, this. At Harvard, Spencer Andrews published this. The American Psychiatric Association's DSM-5, the latest version of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, reclassified pathological gambling from an impulse control disorder in DSM-4 to the substance-related and addictive disorder category. Psychologists today view gambling disorder as a diagnosis more akin to a substance use disorder, like opioid addiction, than an impulsivity disorder, like kleptomania or pyromania. Similar to a high from a drug, the euphoria of hitting a bet and winning money manifests itself as a flood of dopamine to the reward pathways in the brain. This feeling is highly addictive, and a small population of people are more vulnerable to fall into its grips. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYTSports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.